So today, we're taking a look back at good old Snes. Yep, we're blowing our way through this review. Now all we need is a game to play. Well, what about we get one of the best ones to hit the Snes? Ah, yes! Super Mario RPG Legend of the... Woo! Let's take a breather. We got a long one. Super Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars on Snes! The era of Snes was being questioned by a new contender in the world of consoles. A vicious console created in the result to a partnership with Nintendo that took a wrong turn. Many of you may not know, but PlayStation was birthed out of sheer rage over Nintendo choosing Philips instead of Sony. President of Sony, Norio Oga, actually appointed the development of the PlayStation to rival Nintendo. Enough with the history though. As it seems, Nintendo's last big game on the SNES was the game before you, Super Mario RPG. The game was in 3D and was one of the few games to use the SA1 chip to render all its contents. In comparison to standard SNES games, this allowed higher clock speeds, faster access to RAM, and a whole pile of handy improvements. Nintendo was more than ready to hit the ground running, but it needed one thing: a team who can create RPGs like no other. A team who was known for amazing storylines. A team that understood character development. Who could fill this role? Square. Or, as you better know them now, as Square Enix. Yes, Square, creators of one of the most beloved and dominant games to this date, Final Fantasy. 3D, Square, Nintendo, Mario RPG. This all sounds amazing on pen and paper, but let's see how it really is. It's so beautiful. Seriously though, Nintendo, you have done a mighty fine job. The pure aesthetics of this game are already out of the world in comparison to any other SNES game at the time. Graphics alone are not all this game offered. The RPG elements in the game, while not perfect, are beyond what many were expecting out of a Mario game at the time. The game was branching off Mario further than anyone would have guessed. It actually had story for once and gave the characters more personality that wasn't seen in previous games. It also introduced everyone to new characters never before seen in the Mario series. One of the most notable things is how much fun is poked around in this game, like the Power Ranger ripoffs. It's probably one of the most funniest and memorable scenes in this game. And let me just say, this game is a masterpiece and was well received and got amazing scores. It got a 9.5 out of 10 from IGN. A freaking 9.5. That's unheard of now. And growing up playing the game, I can admit that it's one of my most prized possessions. I never really enjoyed an RPG until Square and Nintendo proved that you can make a streamlined RPG appeal to kids of all ages, and that simplifying mechanics doesn't necessarily mean stripping out strategy completely. The game is still amazing and honestly holds up today well against many other RPGs. And while the era of the SNES was clearly coming to an end, showing weaker visuals compared to the PlayStation, I consider it one of the best goodbyes from Nintendo to its fan base and the Super Nintendo. But such a well-praised game would likely receive a sequel, right? Well, after Super Mario RPG, Square wanted to take a different route. It seemed like CD-ROMs would allow Square to have more creative freedom. But one of the main things was money. Producing games on CD consoles would be a lot more cheaper than N64 cartridges. This decision hurt Square for a while as it brought loss after loss, leading it to selling a stake of its company to Sony. And while the company Enix was hesitant at first to merge with Square, the success of Final Fantasy X helped smoothen out those doubts. But now let's answer the question we're all wondering. Can it be possible for another Super Mario RPG to come out? So while creating another Mario RPG is technically possible, it would require an agreement between both companies in terms of copyright, and Nintendo would be giving a large portion of its earnings to Square Enix. Now recall that Square Enix didn't want to work with Nintendo because their cartridges limitations, and the matter being that Square was originally a company started by Miyamoto is almost like crossing Nintendo. Adding on, jumping over to the rival console was heresy, one might say. And Nintendo continued with Mario in the RPG direction in what many would call a spiritual successor, Paper Mario. But as for Super Mario RPG, maybe something may come down the road. I mean, Nintendo did release Super Mario RPG on the Virtual Console in 2008, and maybe hopefully someday Nintendo and Square Enix can revisit this world and give the fans the long awaited Super Mario RPG 2. Hey guys, 8-Bit Otaku, I just wanted to say thank you for watching my other video. Yes, it's kind of interesting, right? It's not about anime, it's about video games for once. Well, I do have a passion for video games. I love video games, I love making them, but I just want to give my opinions on what I thought about this game. It might not be one of the ones that are out currently, but it is a game that many actually don't know about, and it went under the radar because it was pretty much one of the last games Nintendo put out on the Snes, and now like the future generation of kids that are now playing video games and such are more focused on Super Mario 64, and it just completely overshadows Super Mario Legend of the Seven Stars. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Paper Mario Thousand Year Door has 7 stars. Like, I don't know if there's a connection between that. Anyways, I did want to say thank you for watching my video, and if you throw me a like or subscribe, that would help me a lot. And why don't you tell me a game that maybe I should talk about in this new What Is series for games. Anyways, this has been 8-Bit Otaku. Jana, guys!